We've been talking about the hypocrisy of the American justice system and their treatment with the Biden family versus President Trump. Joining us live now is someone who knows all about President Trump and was in his inner circle, former Assistant Secretary to the Treasury, Monica Crowley. Monica, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Shemane, it's so good to be with you. Thank you so much for having me today.
And I want to also thank you for always being there for Ted and I when we reach out and say hello and ask you questions, and you endorsed my last book. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, your friendship is a great gift to me. So I appreciate you guys so much. You're a blessing in my life.
Aw, so sweet. Okay, so let's get down to some more difficult discussions. Why is the media and this administration, the Biden administration, so obsessed with President Trump?
I'll tell you, since the moment he came down that escalator in June of 2015 at Trump Tower, Shemane, he posed an existential threat to the entire corrupt ruling class here in America and the corrupt globalist ruling class internationally. Why? Because he wasn't one of them. He didn't owe them anything. And he was campaigning and then governed on the basis of America first. He was also very much into the idea of peace, bringing the troops home and starting no new wars. As we know, peace is not profitable. So you have these dark forces here in America and around the world who have an absolute grip on power. The real power in this country, Shemane, is not in the White House or Capitol Hill or the Supreme Court or the judiciary. It's actually with the deep state and the permanent bureaucracy, the administrative state in this country. And so while we vote and nothing changes, now you know why, because they pretend to give us power, and the power really doesn't reside with us. Donald Trump came in and began to restore the power back to the American people as it is supposed to be. He was also exposing all of the depth of corruption and rot in all of these dark places, like the deep state, administrative state, the fake news media, the globalists. He was kicking over all these rocks, and all of the roaches and earthworms that have been benefiting from this corrupt system for so long, they began to seethe because they were exposed to the sunlight, right? So of course, because he poses this existential threat to all of them and their grip on power, he needs to be destroyed. And that's why they've spent the last many years trying to destroy him, and they continue to do so.
Do you think they're ever going to give up and, let things settle? Especially, it's worrisome, obviously, with President Trump running for re-election again. What is going to stop them, Monica?
The only way that they feel like they can stop Donald Trump is by putting him in prison. And I remember just 1 or 2 months after he became president, Shemane, in March of 2020, I went on Fox News and I said this out loud. I think I was the very first one to say this, that they didn't just want to undermine and destroy his presidency, which of course they wanted to, and in many cases did, but they wanted the man in prison because they believe if he's in prison, then he is stopped. Then he and the America First movement will be destroyed. And remember, it's not just about Donald Trump. It is about him, of course, but it's about the America First movement. It's about you and me and this audience. They want to stop us because they realize we have tremendous power in numbers. And when we realize our own power, then we are unstoppable. So they need to stop him in order to stop the movement, just like they needed to stop the Tea Party before America First and the Reagan Revolution before that, and the Nixon Great Silent Majority before that. It's all the same movement, Shemane, and the powers that be that actually control this country need to stop it in its tracks.
Absolutely. Now, I want to switch gears just a little bit. Dick Durbin tested positive despite being vaxxed and boosted. And, Americans are really getting fed up with all of this. Take a look at this clip.
People in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with. When you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. Y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Monica, your reaction?
I think that guy should be Donald Trump's running mate. I'm ready to vote for that guy any day of the week, Shemane. I actually saw that clip earlier in the week and I tweeted it out. And here's what I put. I said, Fauci took his big bag of BS to a DC neighborhood to persuade residents to get the mRNA shots and got his ass handed to him. Who has more common sense and frankly more knowledge about these mRNA vaccines than what we've been told by the so-called experts who have just peddled lies from the beginning of the pandemic. And that man was exactly right at the end when he said this has been a campaign of fear. Then I saw Dick Durbin, and we hope everybody gets better from COVID, but I tweeted his tweet out as well. And I said, imagine still posting this claptrap in 2023. It is a cult. It's insane. I'm glad we're at the end of it now, but it's going to be a while before we are able to reclaim all of the freedoms that have been taken away from us.
Do you think there's going to be any accountability? I mean, if we look at what's happened during the past couple of years, I mean, people's lives were destroyed because of this nonsense, and Americans are waking up to what really went on.
I talk about this on my podcast all the time, Shemane. I've been calling for a COVID accountability project because this country was brought to its knees. They stopped the re-election of the greatest president in our lifetimes. And many people suspect, including me, that that's the reason they unleashed this virus on the world. They brought the economy to a halt, destroyed lives and livelihoods, and so many people died. And I think it was in service of this very dark agenda about stopping Donald Trump and advancing the Great Reset. This is another reason why we need a COVID accountability project, so that all of the liars involved, including first and foremost, those in public health, like doctors Fauci, Birx, Redfield, Collins, Walensky, who have lied to us for 3 years, continue to lie to us, that they are held accountable. And by accountable, I mean not just a congressional investigation that goes nowhere. I mean a criminal investigation and putting these people in prison if it's determined that they broke the law.
Absolutely. Well, Monica, I know you have to run. What's next for you? I know you're doing a podcast that's unbelievably successful. What other plans do you have coming up?
Oh, thank you so much for asking, Shemane. Yes, the Monica Crowley podcast. I launched it last year. Please go check it out. I do it 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's available wherever you can get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher. I'm also on television all the time, Fox News, Fox Business, here with you on Real America's Voice, and elsewhere doing a lot of radio and a lot of writing. So I hope you'll go and check it out. Also on social media, Instagram at Monica Crowley _ and Twitter and True Social at Monica Crowley.
Well, Monica, thank you again so much for joining me, for taking the time out of your schedule to join me. I hope we get to see each other again soon in person.
I love it. I would absolutely love it. All my best to you and Ted, Shemane. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you so much. God bless.
You too.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about steaks, and it's not what you think.
Live from Studio 6B with Damon Roberts.
Has nothing to do with minorities. Has everything to do with power. Power grab.
Every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern.